largest refugee crisis since the Second World War, sparking a fierce debate in Western countries over whether to open the floodgates or shut the door.
We cannot welcome everyone, so there should be some red line.
We hear about migrants and refugees on television and internet all the time. I wonder how they make you feel.
The Obama administration has deported 2.5 million undocumented immigrants from the United States.
But the border has been completely sealed. These people have been locked out of Europe.
I say this to you as the son of immigrants, knowing that so many of you are also descendants of immigrants.
We will build a great wall along the southern border.
We are not paying for that stupid wall.
There's attacks on the streets. They are desperate because they are fleeing violence, hunger, and poverty.
Mexico is letting very few of them in, but slamming the door to others.
Helpless. That's how we feel. When the problem before us is so big and we don't know what to do, we feel helpless. As a member of the Redentorist Order, a Catholic religious group whose mission is to serve the most abandoned, I have often wondered, what is it that God is asking of us as we witness such great human woundedness and pain? While there are those who are fleeing in desperation, there are those affected by the arrival of new neighbors. And we should not forget that each one of them has a story to tell. And I believe that a small step toward a response to this big crisis is to come to know them and to listen to them. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to meet these people in different parts of the world, to know them and share their story. We all know that the problem of migration is vast in its scope, though what most of us tend to see is the problem from our own limited and local perspectives. Perhaps listening to the stories of people from other parts of the world may help us to better understand our own stories.
I am Risa Pontemayor. I am single mom, and my origin country is Philippines, and I came to Moscow, Russia, to work, to have a good future, and to support my family. I arrived in Russia on September 14, 2015, and I was in Taiwan, and then I was working there 7 years, and then after that, I changed country. I went to Hong Kong to work, but only 2 years, and now it's in Russia. We imagine that this kid is our son, our daughter, so we love them because while we're working with kids, we think about our family instead of taking care of our babies, but we're taking care of other babies. I'm proud that I have a good employer, that they are happy about my working, that whatever they expect to me, I think for myself that they understand what life here in another country working as a OFW, or overseas Filipino worker.
We have this government that actually promotes the migration of the people. And they crafted this program that would benefit them. We call it labor export program. In the labor export program, the government systematized the process of recruitment and the process of finding jobs abroad.
Around 10 million Filipinos, about 1/10 of our population, are scattered all over the world.
Because the Philippines is an agricultural country, the problem there is that there is no land for the peasants to work. And they are forced to migrate in cities, and then when the cities do not provide enough jobs for them, they go abroad.
I was assigned in Kuwait. So I grabbed the opportunity because I wanted to start as early as I can for my kids as well, to give them a good life. Life there is not what you expect it to be, as what I expected here in the Philippines. We have freedom, we have respect, but there, I'm sorry, I'm not. This is based on my own experience. In my contract, I was told that I am a tutor of a 4-year-old kid. But then when I arrived, it's not. I ended up being a domestic helper instead of being a tutor, just like Cinderella's doing. That's what we do there.
The doormat treatment, just what the majority of domestic workers in the Middle East endure undeservedly and put up with from their cold-hearted and uncaring household masters/employers day in and day out in the performance of their work.
He locked the house, he locked the room, everything. For domestic helpers, they cannot go out of the building. They cannot go out of the house.
He knows my schedule. She stepped out the room half naked with a towel wrapped. However, it can be seen in between. So I don't look at him, but he called me twice. I know that he has bad intention. It's only me and the 8-month-old baby that is left. The most frightening thing that I am expecting is the rape.
Hindi ko sana ng tulong kasi yung anak ng amo ko, pinakailang ginalaw ko. Tapos nagsumbong ko sa amo ko agad. Sabi niya, bakit daw hindi ko agad sinabi? Sa sobrang takot ko, natatakot ako magsalita. Yan, pagkatapos akong galawin ng anak niya, pinagbantaan ako na kapag nagsumbong daw ako. Nadala niya ako sa desierto at magpapatay ni babaw niya ako doon. Hanggang ngayon, masakit pa yung ma-rape ko nung pinalaman niya ako. May pasa din ako sa binti. Tapos yung hita ko, sinuntok niya para hindi ako magkala.
So what I did, I had four undies inside me, just like, of course, a panty, a short, a leggings, and then the slim fit, and then my uniform.
Gusto ko na lang umuwi. Ayoko na. Natatakot na ako. Wala pa naman ako hawak na pera pang binili ng ticket ko. Inuman niyo ako. Inuman niyo ako.
There are 30 million Filipinos who do not have gainful living that would provide enough food for their family. So those 30 million are the potential number of people who will migrate.
One day, time will come that I will be in Philippines for good, not for all my life going to abroad. So for now, what we're gonna do is to save money, to work hard, and then if we have enough saving, then we can start a new life in Philippines. But everything will happen through God's will.
My name is Danny Lionel. I come from DRC. I grew up in a family of 5. I'm turning 18 this year. I wanted to be a doctor, but now I'm planning to be a businessman as well. Yeah, life, I don't know what I can say, but life was normal. Everything changed when my parents died.
What happened?
During one night, my family was sitting in the sitting room. My sister was 9, my brother was 6, and I went to sleep by that time. After a while, I heard like noise in the house. I heard a gunshot. I quickly ran under my bed. It was quiet after a while. But when I went to the sitting room, I find everybody is lying down dead, and I was the only one remaining. So I quickly ran to my auntie, and I told her everything. Then I stayed there with my auntie, I don't know, about some months. Then they came again. I don't know if it's the same people or different people. They hauled the husband of my auntie. They hauled him away, and then they took my auntie in the room. I don't know if they raped her or something. They take her somewhere. They went with her. Nobody touched me. They didn't ask me anything. I was just there standing. Then they took the husband. They went with him. They beat him up to death. I went to church, where I got help and organized everything for me to come. It was a priest, because I told him everything. I didn't have anywhere to go. So I explained everything, what happened, and then he told me that your life is in danger. He went, he spoke to another man. I don't know what they spoke about. Then later on, they say I'll go with that man.
While Western media is flooded with news of African refugees landing in Europe, what they fail to report is the distress of countries within the continent of Africa. And what I heard and saw changed my understanding of the present crisis.
There has been the phenomenal increase of migrants coming into South Africa in the last 22 years. And most of them would be coming from the Democratic Republic of Congo because of the war going on, and in some other African countries.
This side is still Mozambique. Just across in the other side is South Africa. Mozambique, South Africa, that side.
But the majority of the people who have been coming in the last 20 odd years would have been economic migrants. So you have that constant challenge of people moving in and out without documents, getting arrested, getting held, separating families. So it is quite a traumatic experience for many families.
We will all know that South Africa was colonized, but we won't dwell too much on the issues of colonization. What I will dwell too much, which links to migration, is the issues of apartheid regime, because it's very much linked to the issues of migration and the migrants coming to South Africa. We had quite a number of former state leaders who seek refugee in other countries, and which means they have migrated from South Africa to the other country to seek protection.
Yes, I know to easy.
Post 1994, when South Africa became a democratic state, we have our leaders who came back from all sort of hiding from those countries. Now we have got those countries who are experiencing problems, which are experiencing civil war, who are experiencing persecutions, who are experiencing torture, who are experiencing all this sort of crime against humanity. And when they've got problems, it's another turn now for South Africa. Not to say South Africa owes those countries some favors or some returning. It's because now South Africa is part of an AU, which is an African Union.
We hope that 2018 will be the year where Africa makes history, because Africa signs a continental free trade agreement that brings Africa into the global trade space.
When I came to understand where I think South Africa will still needs to do a bit of education in terms of educating our young generation, our youth, and even our elders in terms of what is the situation of migration on the ground.
Okay, you put questions, I answer.
Yes. Tell me where we are, what area we are, and tell me what place.
It's in the area of the south of Johannesburg, area where it is traditionally populated by migrants or traditional migration. What I know is about the Irish, Italians, Portuguese, and at the moment we have, let's call it Pan-Africa for different regions of Africa. Among them, Congolese, Nigerians, Zimbabwean, Malawians, Angolans, Mozambicans is the most representative migrant communities in the area.
Could you tell me something about the incident that recently happened with regard to the burning of the houses?
Okay, the incident with the burning of the houses.
This is the second house no East End, and then yeah,
and there was some episodes of people was unhappy, and because they were accusing migrants or refugees, in particular Nigerians, of having houses for prostitutes and doing accusing them as drug dealers and so on. And then these houses apparently were houses that were used for prostitutes for distribution of drugs.
It's very sad, because most of the people that are identified that they are doing fraud and bad things are Nigerians. They even said, your husband is from where? And I said, no, he's from Cameroon. They said, at least he's not a Nigerian.
It hasn't been easy for any migrant that comes from whatever country, as a matter of fact, because they claim we take their job, we take their money, we steal, and all these things is not a lie. I don't see that happening. Like myself, I've been independent. Even in some cases, I created a job opportunity through where I employ few citizens here.
White foreigners are most welcome in South Africa, and black are not that welcomed, but that stigma is always there. Black person, poverty. White person, she's bringing or he's bringing wealth.
You know, what I see is a lot of revenge. You know what I mean? I came here, I accept it. I accept the laws, I accept the peoples, I accept the culture. I accept it to be a servant. I accept even people to shout me. I try to be humble. I try to understand. I try to fit in. And some way, somehow, I think I'll win.
You think the present community sometimes lacks that flexibility to come and integrate themselves and to contribute?
Yeah.
job. Zulu!
That our country has got skills. And then in some instances, the people that come in sort of deprive the people of South Africa from job opportunities of it. I would find that a person of a different nationality, different, coming into South Africa to take my child's job, you see, and so.
What kind of jobs are we talking about? Informally or formal jobs? When you go in the community level, in the street level, and you look at the kind of jobs that asylum seekers and refugees are doing, is that the job that you can hold your government accountable to say, government, yes, now I have a job because now I'm doing a barber shop at a corner? Can you say you have a job when you are fixing shoe at a corner? A person who comes to South Africa fleeing persecution, war, and some sort of violence which can cause harm into his life, comes to South Africa and say, I want to be a refugee. They will then issue that person with an asylum seeker permit, which we normally call them Section 22. And that Section 22, it's written on it that you have got the right to work and study and the right to live in the Republic. And once the government of South Africa issue you with that permit, it simply means that the government of South Africa, they are duly obliged to protect you. And by virtue of you having that permit, you are now protected constitutionally. You have got the right to justice, you have got the right to life, and right to employment, which is a very critical resource, which is a very critical livelihood strategy. Now you are given 6 months. Who is going to employ you on a full-time basis if you are on a temporary basis?
When I want to become a deacon, I could not become a deacon because I'm using the asylum seeker. Because as a deacon, you have to study 5 years. So you can't study 5 years when you are having a temporary permit saying you are here in South Africa in 6 months. So you can take a course of 5 years if you're already having a 6 months in South Africa. The worst moment now, I'm a qualified electrician, engineering. But because of that asylum seeker I'm having here, I can't have a job in South Africa. Where quite maybe electrical engineering, they could pay even 20,000 per month, but I can't get anything from above that. It's really painful. When you have your hands, you can use it, but they already cut it so that you could continue to survive without anything in this country. It's really painful when they cut your hands that you could use it, but you're still standing as a human being, you're still breathing, but they cut your
One of the gateways to the European Union for thousands of migrants is Italy. And in Italy, the city of Venice, that you and I know as a beautiful holiday destination, has become for many migrants the last hope for survival. I went there to find out how have the local people responded to this crisis, and perhaps the challenges that this city experiences are a reflection of the rest of Europe.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. No, when people have nothing, when they meet someone, listen to them, they stick to that person. Because they have nobody else. A good health, good future, a good husband. Amen.
There's no like Father Luigi Ramasotti. He is one Papa here in Italy.
Oh yeah, surely he is.
Yes, and we love him, the Filipinos, all the Filipinos problem. dissolve the father, but there's no gift for him. Only the Bonetti heads.
To take a picture with my cell phone. Put on Facebook. My name is Father Luigi Ramazzotti. I'm Italian. My parents both Italian, but my father went to work in Belgium after the war because very poor family. Because I was born and raised in Belgium.
As a single person helping out, can you, including the Filipinos, how many people do you serve?
No, the Filipinos, I am the chaplain.
Okay.
They're around, will be, I think, around 100.
100 refugees that you're helping out?
Yeah, I've helped in these 6 years.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is quite a lot of work that you're doing.
When I was coming from Agadez to Libya, you must cross Sahara in the desert.
And how you cross? By car?
Cars.
Okay.
There are 2 people who died over there.
Died? How did they die?
Like, it come another car with attackment, so they shoot. So both of them fell down, and the car rose fastly, and we left them there. It was six months journey. They hit you, they do bad thing to you, and they throw you over there, and you could not find a way to go back where you come from. That's always there. So we just risk our life to go and hustle to find the money just to cross. So I did all of those just to reach in Italy.
I asked them many things. You are happy to talk? You tell me a story. And that's important. All important is that you remain a good Muslim, a good son, that you study and you work. Become honest, everything must be in legality. I'm trying to make it, don't worry.
How it has been? It's been a very challenging because it's not only the faith ministry, but it's also the helping on social, with documents, with relationship. The integration is also difficult, knowing the Italian culture, the exchange of the culture, trying to help them to live in a better way in Italy. This is very, very challenging, very difficult. But first of all, Filipinos here, they're very loved, they're hardworking people. There has been a kind of social progress for the community. Because now, in the immigration world, they are on a higher level. The difficulty, for sure, is the language that I don't speak. And I will also choose not to speak. Because I think living in Italy, you must learn Italian language. It's a way to integrate. But also, it is another people, as another culture. In the meanwhile, son, I advise you still or not, because in my house, I cannot keep you there. My house won't keep you sometimes when we have nowhere to go. I cannot keep. I cannot now tell you you can stay there until the 15th because I'm not in that house. For me, it was no problem, but I'm not alone. Therefore, I cannot host you. But try, if you can, to find somewhere at least until half December. Then if some days you find nowhere, you can stay there. But I cannot hold you on a regular basis. You're a good boy, I will take you for 2 weeks, but it's only for 2 weeks. These are the keys from the outside door. Okay.
For 3 months, we just wish that we have only a place to stay, not to be in the street. And the problem is that when you're a refugee, you don't know even about tomorrow what's gonna happen. I choose Christianity, and I accept it in my heart. One of the reasons that we had to leave our country, because in Iran, this is an Islamic government, and it has death penalty if they know that you change your religion, especially when you're Muslim and you left Islam and you change another religion. It has death penalty, execution. That's why we had to leave our country, our job, our life, everything we had, and we had to come to Europe as a refugee. Padre Luigi, he found us this place to stay, and he tried to find some food, some financial help, some warm clothes. We didn't even have warm clothes for winter, and we stayed in the cold weather outside.
Sono Giorgia De Biasi, sono veneziana, sono nata a Venezia e ho conosciuto, conosco il problema immigrazione e le problematiche legate all'immigrazione grazie a questa comunità. La mia idea, siamo tutti diversi perché non ci conosciamo. Nel momento in cui ci conosciamo abbiamo degli elementi in comune, però anche chi viene deve essere disposto ad integrarsi e a seguire determinate regole. Io penso questo. Penso che l'integrazione ci possa essere se io fornisco a queste persone una chance, una possibilità. Se io non sono in grado di dare questa possibilità, queste persone non avranno niente da perdere e creeranno problemi magari di ordine pubblico.
And the procedure for refugees takes a few years. These few years, the government must look after them. It's very expensive. Italian poor are blaming, look what they have, we even don't have. And I understand that. Italians until 40 years ago was a poor country. And I'm an example of one who had to go abroad to work. The Italians must be sensitive to this issue about immigration, because they were self-immigrant once.
While most Italians I met were understanding and responsive towards the sufferings of the poor migrants and refugees, their concern and fear about the ever-growing scale of the problem was real. They were willing to help, even out of their meager resources, but with the expectation that the newcomers would embrace their culture and language and try to become one among them. While some struggled with it, others were doing it with much ease. There are many dimensions to the crisis of migration. But the question that I am most intrigued is, how should I, as a Christian, respond to this crisis, and why? Well, what better place could I go to find answers other than Rome?
Job or something, dignity. Quante famiglie sono che vivono? 66. 66 famiglie. Tutti saranno
questi sono
come una centinaia o 100
qualcosa, più o meno 100.
They have about 20 children among them as well. E per quanto tempo pensate che potete rimanere qua?
Fino a che una soluzione.
Solo Dio lo sa.
So only God knows until hopefully there's some kind of solution comes and some help comes. No, from which countries is that the people who live here? They come from which countries? Ah, devo dire in italiano.
Stavo cercando di dire, però. Vabbè, comunque è meglio così. Cerca di imparare.
Di che paese vengono le gente?
Penso da tutte le parti, Africa, East Europa.
So Eastern Europe, some parts of Africa,
Allora,
Morocco,
Santo Domingo,
Dominican
Marocco,
Republic, Morocco,
Perù,
Peru,
Cuba, varie parti del mondo, dappertutto vengono.
certain many parts of the world, even from Italy
Ecuador.
itself,
Ecuador, Italia,
Italy, Algeria, Senegal,
Nigeria.
They're from many different
Siamo tutti
countries.
come una famiglia gigante.
They're like one big family together.
The vision of Pope Francis has made an enormous difference, I think, for us. Because he's got a vision of the church which is truly missionary. From the very early days of our congregation, this question of migration, of the mass movement of peoples, has been very much part of who we are as Redemptorists, and reaching out to meet real needs of abandoned people.
They live here.
Yeah, they leave a number of them, not just few.
Statemi in software. I used to work with him at 9:20 today. That's where I'm going to.
What work you're going to do there?
No, that one is in just cleaning.
Cleaning?
Yeah.
Gli immigrati qui sono numerosi, sono tanti, ai quali come comunità parrocchiale e come missionari redentoristi soprattutto cerchiamo di dare un piatto caldo ogni giorno e di maggior conforto per quanto riguarda anche il vestiario, l'abbigliamento e il poter vivere bene.
I also think that we need to recognize that the experience of people who are living and feel threatened on both sides needs to be taken into account.
Demonstrators gathered in Rome on Saturday morning to protest against Mayor Ignacio Marino. They say he's abandoned the suburbs, allowing immigration without adequate facilities and leaving the area in ruin. Rome's city officials began transferring refugees from a migrant reception center on Thursday after repeated attacks by residents.
And there's a great deal of fear around what will this mean? How is it going to change us? How is it going to change our reality? Coming from Toronto, where half the people were not born in Canada, where the majority of people are from away, we say, from away. There's a different sense of what it means to welcome. Coming from a country like Italy, or like many European countries, where there's a strong sense of history and culture and identity, and where people have lived not only in the same country, but in the same community, town, or parish for generation after generation, it can be much more difficult to open up. Not to open up to a few people coming who can be integrated into our way of life and learn to live with our culture, even though they'll keep their cultural identity, but to open up to the numbers of people who are moving today. And the questions that I hear from people are, what's going to happen with our society, with our culture and our values that have kept this country alive and going?
And their fear is, well, as a church, our responsibility is to protect the faith, our tradition. The people who are coming in don't share our faith. But when we are kind of allowing or even encouraging the people of other faith to come in, are we doing justice to our faith?
Yeah, we do justice to our faith when we live it ourselves. The presence of others is not a reason for us not to live our faith.
My family are immigrants, and they came seeking a better life. They came because there was no future for them, the ones who came from Ireland, at a time when staying in Ireland meant you were going to die. How can I not see that same need, motive on behalf of others? And I think the only response is to invite people to encounter, dialogue, accompaniment, and then inclusion. I think Pope Francis has it right about the process. And that's why until we get out and actually meet people and not afraid of them because they're different from us and not expecting them to be the same as us, until we meet people and talk to them, I think it's going to be impossible to resolve the present crisis.
In the church in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine, for immigrants, is a place of trust. A place where people feel that they can let their guard down, where they're not endangered, where they're received and supported in peace of being under the Father's roof, being in God's house. It is when we have that personal encounter with somebody from a completely different background or a different tradition that we come to see our common God-given dignity and humanity. I think that place of encounter needs to be very carefully nurtured, that the encounter be not like this, but that be a loving touch and embrace.
The Christian response simply has to be, we are family. We are from the same mother, father, origin, species. Therefore, we owe each other an obligation. If I can cheer somebody with the word of a song, if I can show somebody who's traveling wrong, then my living has not been in vain. My loving has not been in vain.
Holy See is making a very constructive and helpful contribution, and so we produced this booklet which suggests that the Church also is looking forward to the new compacts on migrants and refugees, and hopefully the compacts will reflect the teaching and the practice of the Church.
Purtroppo in gran parte dei casi si tratta di spostamenti forzati causati da conflitti, disastri naturali, persecuzioni, cambiamenti climatici, violenze, povertà estrema e condizioni di vita indegne. La nostra comune risposta si potrebbe articolare attorno a 4 verbi: accogliere, proteggere, promuovere e integrare.
In 1967, two of us, another Redemptorist and I, we did little missions, a place at a time out there in the desert. Sometimes we pulled a trailer with us. And so we did these missions, Vatican II content. I've been here for just over 50 years, and at first it was just a wire fence. And then 20 years ago, they really started building up the fences along the border. These walls are much bigger now, higher, and bars so that human beings on the other side, people can see each other at least.
Crucé todo México, toda esa travesía, el desierto, todo eso. Eso fue lo, hasta hoy ha sido lo más duro de mi vida que he pasado también. Lo más difícil fue el desierto. Fueron 4 días y 5 noches las que yo pasé ahí. Uno aguanta porque uno dice, vale la pena, va a valer la pena el esfuerzo que uno hace.
Y me sentí tan triste que le dije a mi pareja, mi primo ya no está con nosotros. Porque sentí tan frío el camino. Y sí, cuando fuimos allá, me llevaron a este lugar que se llama Calvary y me enseñaron un álbum de muertos. Fue una experiencia tan difícil para mí, porque te dan un álbum donde ves tanta gente ahí. Tienes que identificar hoja por hoja si es el que estás buscando. Fotos de gente que ya no está con nosotros, están en ese lugar esperando que alguien los recoja, que los reclame, porque si no se van a la fosa común. Esa fue una experiencia muy, muy, muy difícil.
Almost all the deaths are because of lack of water, it's really a horrible death, of course.
The other day I went through the kind of national database of human remains recoveries. So, and I say remains, not deaths, because we don't actually know how many people have died. We know how many people have died and been found. And I looked at all of the data from the past about 15 years of how many remains had been found out there. And I found that the last 3 years, since we've expanded to work out there, as well as another group called the Águilas del Desierto, that the number of recovered remains has just skyrocketed. And I think that's not a result in more people dying out there. I think it's a result in our presence out there and finding them.
Now 100 water stations in the desert, very remote areas. Now they have a flag in the air that lost migrants can find water, and sometimes they're vandalized.
So you get a good shot picking up this trash somebody left on the trail. It's not yours, is it? All you have to do is tell me, is it yours? It's not yours. You're not going to tell me, huh?
We've talked to agents on the ground that have said, oh, yeah, I used to destroy water, but not anymore. That's just a thing that the new guys do. And we've seen it on camera. We've spoken to migrants who saw Border Patrol destroying water drops. So I think the U.S. government itself is actually the largest entity that is kind of anti what we're doing, even though on the surface they often say that they appreciate and support us and we have a working relationship with them, but their strategy and our missions are actually direct opposites.
There are powerful people who believe that America should stick only with its European roots, that brown people, black people are secondary, but fear, and so then people often living in these so-called gated communities and listening to American talk radio, where there's a lot of racism. Good people, they get this fear. So the brown face, with a black face, is trouble.
And the justification in the last 20 years in this scenario has always been there are people who come here legally and they are deserving, and there are other people who come here illegally and they are not deserving. And to that argument, I would say we have used the law many times in the past in our own history to accomplish the same goal, to divide people, to designate some people as deserving and other people as not deserving. And the shining example of that in our modern times is Jim Crow, the Jim Crow laws in the Deep South. It was illegal, literally illegal, for certain people to vote in the Deep South for many, many decades. Today, we look back at that history and we view it as a black mark.
A lot of talk about losing jobs to Mexico.
The CEO explained that machines will replace traditional labor.
This is all about artificial intelligence and how
The largest Ford plant in North America is in Hermosillo, a city I talked to you about 4 hours south of here. That plant, probably in 1960, would have had 10,000 workers. Today it has 1,400 workers. Those workers have been replaced with technology. That technology, most of, is made in the United States. The wall isn't going to help any of that.
We have grown into the pride of America that is a wonderful thing, but as a result of gaining that pride, we forget to educate ourselves about what the rest of the world is doing and what they're going through. Sometimes we forget how great it is to have a home, to have a ceiling, a table, sometimes even a meal. We forget the concept that that could be a dream for somebody else. And unfortunately, in doing so, we kill the American dream. The dream that we longed for, that we crave every day, and that we live. We don't allow others to dream.
Spokesperson, but just got your. I'm going to send to you and Angela a letter I just got from someone at Washington D.C. from ICE there, and this woman at ICE is called. Her name is Julie, and Julie sent me information. Was this taken at the same time as the one that's...
They put different
background?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, baby, I got you candy. No, I got it.
Everybody's home.
I buy the line in 2008 or 9, and like almost 2010 or 11, I start building the house. Yes, my husband and me, nobody else. He do everything, like the cabinets, the floor, everything. Huevo Rigo and me, yes, do everything.
Caroline, no do that. You're gonna mess it up. Gonna mess it up.
No, don't break it.
You can't buy any more, it's too. No.
No, you can break it.
And Papi's not here to fix it. You can't do it. No.
Yeah.
And they cannot fix it.
You can't fix it. You can't fix it. You gotta buy another one.
Let's see the
That's gonna take another 2 years.
Ponlo ahorita donde se lavan la ropa, hija. Thank you, mom.
Thank you, Mom.
I heard one say,
Mom, Dad, Mommy.
Eat.
Not just speak, she was eating her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, Dad.
She was trying to mimic her mouth.
Monse?
Yeah, Monse, can you believe that?
Are you teasing your mom? No? Ah.
He say, can ya use my daddy thing? Because my mustache is gonna say, wait, little, not now. Pero he happy. He say, Mami, mira, I'm still something. I say, what happened? My mustache grown out. Like my daddy, but I want to beard too.
So you like dancing?
Kind of, but
Not really.
kind of. Kimberly's Imelda, she was teaching Kimberly, and my dad was teaching me.
Imelda sí sabe.
Yeah. Imelda knows how to dance. She's been teaching Kimberly.
So Kimberly, you dance?
Imelda told me to come with her, but I said no.
I like dancing. My dad likes teaching me, or Imelda, but I'm not much of a dancer. I just like sometimes dance.
But you're a music person.
Yeah, calms me.
Yeah.
My name is Father Michael McAndrew, and I was born in Omaha, Nebraska. My ministry with migrants started in Denver, Colorado in 1991. We formed a youth house. We knew we were going to work with youth, and we probably thought at times we were going to work with gang kids and problems of inner city kids. But the youth who came to our doors were recent arrival immigrants from Latin America and Mexico. The pastor of the parish knew the family well, and I recognized them because I had known them through masses, ages 2 to 13 at the time, and the husband and wife, they were just a very attractive family.
Nadie es perfecto, ¿verdad? A veces peleamos, discutimos por cosas, y yo decía, yo no sé si te quiero, se acostumbre, pero ahorita lo que nos está pasando, ahora le digo, Rigo, yo sí te quiero para atrás, y yo sé que te quiero.
Yeah.
Y a veces uno, como dicen, nadie sabe hasta que lo pierde. Uno ya sabe, ¿sí me entiende? Ya sabe lo que perdió uno. Hasta que ya se separa uno y digo, ojalá.
You don't know what you miss until you lose it. Then you miss it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y es true. Ese día no me despedí de él y a muchas personas les digo, la comadre, muchas personas, y aunque estén enojados con su esposo todo el tiempo, despídanse, porque nunca se me va a olvidar ese lunes. Yo no sé, no me despedí de él y no llego a la casa y digo, eso es muy triste. No. Todo el tiempo tiene que uno despedirse de ellos. Uno no sabe si va a regresar o quién sabe qué pasa.
Él va a regresar.
Él vino antes que yo. Él vivió en Georgia, Atlanta. Y ya en el 2002 nos hicimos novios, como en el 2001. Todo comenzó, fue un lunes a las 6 de la tarde. Me habló mi esposo Rigoberto y me dijo que había tenido un accidente. Él chocó con una americana. Ella le dijo que le pagara por el choque. Entonces él le dio el dinero que traía en su bolsillo y la americana le dijo, está bien. Pero la policía llegó y le preguntó a mi esposo por la licencia, identificación, y él le dijo que no tenía, que tenía aseguranza pero no licencia. Y le dijo, ¿vienes tomado? Y él le dijo, no. Dice, ok, dice, te voy a llevar a la policía. Y él le dijo que le tomara el test. Y él le dijo que no tenía la máquina para hacerle el test. Dijo, está bien, te voy a llevar a la cárcel a hacer el test, a ver si no estás tomado. Y todo está bien, va a ir tu familia por ti. Pero el policía echó mentiras. Ya cuando él llegó ahí a la cárcel, ya no lo dejaron a él salir. Y tampoco hablar con él. Yo fui a verlo ese día y no quisieron. Mi esposo dice que no le tomaron el test, fue una mentira. Eso fue el lunes, yo el miércoles lo fui a ver a la cárcel y él me enseñó un papel donde decía que tenía force DUI y con letras pequeñas abajo decía ICE y yo traté de ver abogados, pero la policía no dejó, ningún abogado no quiso dar información, dijo que migración tenía el caso. Entonces así fue como sucedió. Después de ahí ya lo trasladaron a Gina, Luciana, y sigue ahí. Ya ahorita van a ser 9 meses que está encerrado él en Gina, Luciana.
¿Habló tu papá?
Papi, ¿qué pasaste, mami?
¿Rigo? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Rigo? Sometimes I feel like I want to go back to Mexico. My kids cry. They know wants to go back to Mexico. Kimberly is 14 years old and she can imagination you going there in different language. They speak Spanish, you know, but they went to the school everything in English. And I'm thinking in everything. I don't know what's going on. See, they reported my husband or staying here. I don't know what's going on or what happened later. And I don't got nothing in Mexico, nothing. Yes, my house ain't here. Last month, almost the electricity, the people's cut the electricity, because I don't pay 1 month, and I need to pay twice, you know, the 2 months together. Pero I made it. I still working. Sometimes I'm scared. These days, the immigration coming to Oxford. And over here, they lock this street for check papers, for driving licenses, but sometimes, you know, they put it in jail. And I'm scared. I tell Rigo, these days I'm thinking because they see the immigration take me, what happened with my kids? And the little one yesterday, she in the night, sometimes, you know, maybe she thinking in Rigo, I don't know, she's my daddy, and she cry, she looking in the window, she still do that, the same thing. The first months, every day, she waiting for Rigo, every day. I say, my daddy coming, my daddy coming. And I say, yo, it's okay. I say, okay, mommy. Or sometimes when I cry, she say, no cry, mommy. Papi, come back, okay? Sometimes it's like, I feel, I don't know, she knows what's going on, the little one.
Espíritu Santo. Misa terminado, vayamos en paz.
Ya después que hablemos con el abogado, me acordé del padre Miguel y que había hecho un libro y que ayudaba a los inmigrantes. Y yo venía bien cansada y me senté en la sala y les dije, y yo le pedí ayuda, que me ayudara. Entonces ya fue cuando tuve contacto con el abogado y el padre Miguel y con mi esposo en la cárcel.
When he was taken into custody, the family had to prepare for an immigration case. And because he had been here over 10 years, he qualified for a hearing on what they call a cancellation of removal and adjustment of status. And in preparing for it, I had prepared people in the past in other communities I worked in for getting the letters and testimonials and things like that. So the pastor asked me if I would help the wife gather what was needed. And I contacted the lawyer that they had gotten and found out what was needed and what kind of papers he needed. And I helped the wife gather testimonies about the husband. The case was not an easy one. Because of past record and history, the man was declared by the government as a high priority removal. And when it came time for the hearing in March, every lawyer I have talked to told us we couldn't win the case. They would throw it out because of past hardship and record of the man. The lawyer only called me as the only witness to speak on behalf of the family. Probably that was a good idea, because when it came time for me to come in and speak to the judge, questions would be asked. Why did I think the person should be granted a cancellation of deportation? And I got to talk about the children. The ICE lawyer asked me, well, what about his character issues? And I basically tried to deflect, and I just would say, all those stories you're talking about is about character. Go back to before his children were born. And I said, he's a man who grew up. He's a man who grew up to love his family. And this loving family is being separated by this court. And the judge listened, and to our surprise, I had to leave the courtroom, and I remember sitting out in the lobby, and I was feeling all the things I wished I had said that I didn't say, and I figured we'd lost. And the lawyer came out and he said, "You did good, Father. We won."
It was a normal school day, and we were thinking, oh, we're having our dad back. We were excited. We were excited to go home.
Well, they count the days
We were
and put in,
counting.
because they say, in 30 days they no appeal, Rick was free. And I remember they put flag,
We were pulling tally
count,
marks, and we were counting.
and it's just one more day, and I say, I think I made it. But one more day, and that day they appeal, the last day.
We came home, we opened the door, and she was like, sit down. And we were all like, oops, something's gonna happen. And she told us to sit down. So we sat down, and she told us what happened. And then that's what gave our hopes up. We were like, okay, we're done. You know, they're gonna send them, and we're gonna stay here stuck alone.
At the end of my journey, I'm left with more questions than answers. Yet, my journey was not in vain. The word migrant or refugee is not only a problem or a crisis anymore, but speaks to me of real people. Now when I turn on the television, browse the internet and read about migrants, I don't just see news headlines and statistics, but I see real people, like you and me, people with stories that are often heart-wrenching.
Just in this terrible system. And this sounds like
There are times when I've stood behind the camera with tears in my eyes, listening to a person's story. And in those moments, that person in some mysterious way had become my brother or sister. Just a simple acknowledgement of their pain. Their story and their humanity binds me to them with compassion, wanting to help them in some way. I guess that's what stories do. They make strangers into friends, unknown neighbors into family, into those for whom we care. And this, I believe, is a good beginning.